show, and as promised, we go to our guest line. If you happen to be watching us on QSportsTalk.com, you see our next guest live and in person. She is the general manager for the Syracuse women's basketball program, Mykala Walker, joining us on the show. Mykala, thanks so much for coming on. How are you? How are you doing today?
I am doing well. Thank you guys so much for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Well, we got a lot to get to with you. I guess let's just start with, first and foremost, just the performance of this team to date. 21-5, 11-4 in the ACC. You know, Coach Jack said that, you know, she felt for a while now that this team was going to be special. Has there been a moment for you this year where you felt like, yeah, you know what, we're going to be pretty good this year?
Well, honestly, that's why I took the job. I have been a basketball coach for 12 years, working at various institutions. One I won't name, but the other two, University of Delaware, Arizona State. And this was an opportunity that was presented to me. I had a couple other options, talked to Auburn a little bit, looked at an opportunity at UCLA, looked at some opportunities with the WNBA for Phoenix Mercury. I was trying to get on a little bit with the LA Sparks, but saw this opportunity, came out, had a chance to watch the team in practice, and it was by far the most appealing option for me, just by watching them play and seeing what we have in the gym. So I kind of like Coach Jack. Like from day one, I kind of knew this would be a special team.
What is it like working with Coach Jack day in and day out? And can you walk us through that first initial meeting with her when you guys discussed coming on board here at Syracuse?
Well, the first time I officially met Coach Jack was over the summer. We were at the Nike tournament in Las Vegas, and I've obviously worked with Natasha Adair for all of my professional career since graduating with my master's. And so she introduced me to Coach Jack. I'm kind of directing them to different games that they need to watch while we're at the tournament. And it was there that I saw her passion. I got kind of excited about Coach Jack, but still was not thinking about the general manager position until I got another phone call from Coach Adair and Coach Jack, and they just started to explain to me what they were looking for in this role. And that aligned a lot with what I had experienced in my graduate programs, what I was trying to gear my career up to be. So I had to start revisiting the opportunity. And, you know, since day one, Coach Jack is full of energy. She's got so much passion, and she is an incredible example for what young women can aspire to be in a leadership role.
So along those lines, Mykala, you know, you said that you had been in coaching for more than 10 years. And what was it about this role in particular that made you want to make the switch from, you know, coaching and being on the court day in and day out to more of a front office position, if you will?
Well, as you know, the landscape in college athletics has changed significantly over the course of my time in it. And the opportunity to really invest in our student athletes just grew immensely in this role, and being able to help them really grow with their brands as student athletes, as professionals. I saw this opportunity to be one where I could really have an impact on actual development of the entire being and not just the athlete.
Day to day, what does a day-to-day job look like for you?
Woo, day to day. Every day is
Tuesday to a Thursday. I get it, but you know.
I mean, what are you doing this time of year?
Yeah.
You know, what's a normal day for you right now in season?
Right now in season, it can vary from focusing completely on recruiting and figuring out who's going to jump in the portal, having different conversations with agents, AAU coaches, high school coaches, just trying to get a feel of the pulse of where people are at this time of year, but also having conversations with CAF and meeting with people about what our actual needs are in order for us to be successful when we hit the portal in April.
So you just kind of raised an interesting question in my mind in terms of the portal. You said which players are going to hit the portal. I assume you mean from other teams. What about from your own team? Like how do those conversations work in season with current players? And again, I would imagine you're dealing with their representation. But do you have a feel right now? It's mid-February. Do you have a feel right now for a month from now which players are more apt to return than not?
Ideally, yes. Part of this and part of my experience as an assistant coach for the last however many years is being able to identify that by watching body language, seeing people's behavior, their investment, their engagement. I would say I do have an idea of who's likely to return. For us, luckily, we're in a time period where everybody's pretty engaged just because of how well our team is doing. Everyone from player 1 to 15 is pretty locked in. And in season, just having the background as a player, as a coach, and understanding what it's like to really be in the trenches during these times, try to not have too many of those conversations in terms of staying or leaving. Mostly the conversation is around staying, honestly. We want to talk to you about, next year. You learn how to phrase things differently. Like, right, where are you planning on living next year? Instead of directly saying, do you plan on being here next year? Just figuring out different ways of working that into the conversation where you get those buzzwords like, so you do want to be here next year. So I've had a few of those, but not too many. We will start trying to re-sign a couple players in the next coming weeks. So hopefully you guys will get some good news coming soon. But just so everyone knows, we are working very hard to retain the talent that we have.
When you look at the talent that you have with this year's roster and trying to build for the future, how do you preface talking about looking in the portal to still wanting to bring in top talent at the high school level? Like, is there a healthy balance that you can do with that, or is everything on the table?
It really just depends year to year. Honestly, it shifts so much with what you have, what you need, what you're going to need. And you never know with your roster that you've put together how they're going to perform until they get out on the court. So you want to really have a true healthy balance and locking into the class of 27, but also preparing for who you do want to get out of high school by what you're bringing in the transfer portal. We have had some pretty high level recruits on campus. Yeah. And so that will play a part in how we recruit in the transfer portal as well, just to know whether we want to have the space for somebody coming out of high school in a year or so, or whether we want to build with somebody that's got some years under their belt out of the transfer portal.
How much of an emphasis have you kind of put on keeping the New York talent in state? Has that been any emphasis before? We've seen some of the top players, go to the other programs. Has there been an emphasis on the top talent in this state kind of keeping it here?
Absolutely. I mean, honestly, we wouldn't have Coach Jack if we didn't keep the top talent in the state. So that's actually a high priority of Coach Jack's, to make sure that we're touching the talent in New York. I obviously got here in October, so they've done a lot of the legwork already, but we're making sure that we're staying on top of the Lou Highs, the Christ the Kings. We do have one of our commits, our signees that's coming in, Madison Howard, is from New York. So we're very excited about her, and really just scouring the area, making sure that we're out, we're being seen. We want to make sure that Block S is in every gym that it needs to be in.
How much do you rely on analytics to do your job on a daily basis in terms of focusing on which, the profile of player that you want on the team and on the roster?
Analytics are so important, a part of the game right now, just being able to understand where your team is and how we need to grow. But I have actually been fortunate enough, and another reason why I thought that this would be a great opportunity for me was for us to have the Falk School and Newhouse and all of the students that are really engaged in analytics. I've been able to essentially have my own intern who is putting together some numbers that will really help me identify who can help us out of the transfer portal, who is going to be a good fit for us. Because honestly, there's going to be a lot of talent that jumps in the transfer portal, and you may be squinting your eyes at some things that we try out of the transfer portal, but in reality, we've got to figure out the best fit for our program. And I had a wonderful conversation with the general manager from the Los Angeles Sparks about how to structure that, where it's important, and analytics is a huge piece of it. You got to have, obviously, your eye test. You got to be a coach that can tell whether they have the skills that will help us as a program. And then additionally, the ears piece, where you get to hear who they are, about their character, but that's got to be a even three-legged stool. And so to me, analytics is huge. And I will often walk into Coach Jack's office with some information that Sam has given me about where we're performing currently, and then help him understand where we want to be. And he's been able to build formulas that really work for us.
It's way smarter than Milo. I could barely pass algebra, but that's beside the point. When you're looking, and we just spent 40 minutes in the first part of the show talking about the NIL aspect of things and where Syracuse is in this giant landscape. For women's basketball, do you feel that the team is positioned well enough in NIL, or could there always be more? Like, how much does that play into a factor when you're going out and trying to bring in these new recruits, and like, how do those conversations go?
Oh, absolutely. NIL is a huge factor. We obviously have what we're allotted in rev share, but in order for us to really compete at the highest level, to bring that championship team that I was brought in here to help build, we really have to rely heavily on third-party resources. So that's a lot of the conversation. I do spend some of my time trying to help identify potential opportunities for us, but also meeting with some of our counterparts in the Q's Athletics Fund and with Learfield to help try and facilitate some of these third-party deals, because we absolutely are going to have to supplement our rev share in order to truly build that roster. So I'm sure you guys have heard comments from Coach Jack, but she really means, like, we've got to get some engagement from the businesses and communities and across the nation. I mean, Syracuse is one of the places that has some of the best and biggest alumni all over the country. So it's important for us to be able to offer those opportunities, because some of the teams that we would have to compete with, they really have a huge head start in that space in terms of third-party opportunities. So it's a huge piece of it. It's probably never going to be enough. I mean, that's something that people experience in all different spaces, but it's definitely a huge part of how we're going to be able to construct the rosters going forward.
Obviously, there's a lot of basketball left to be played this year, and it looks like you're going to play deep into March. But your job is to always be looking ahead, right? Absolutely. Looking ahead to next year. And I know we've kind of touched on this throughout the interview, but if you had to, do you know what your top priority is? I guess going into this offseason from a roster perspective, is it a certain position? Is it a certain player? Is it a retention of a certain player on the current roster? What is the top priority right now going into the offseason for you?
Well, for sure, right now the top priority is retention of a couple of our players. We want to make sure that the players that we have know that they're valued and how much we value them. So that's going to be something that we start doing. Like I mentioned before, we're going to start having some meetings very soon to try and retain some of the players that are on our roster right now. And then ideally, we want to go out and get us at least another point guard that'll be able to give some relief to Dom. Not give some release to Dom, but we want to for sure get a point guard in here. We want to get another post player in here. And then you look at the best available. We are very, very, very intentional about retaining what we have, though. As you guys have seen, we have a great roster. We're 21 wins in. We've got a lot. We've got a few more wins to go. We have an opportunity to finish in the top half, obviously the top half, but in the top 4 of our conference. And so building on that, we'll be able to do some really big things if we can retain the talent that we have.
And my last question kind of goes hand in hand with that. You've seen the crowds grow throughout the year. Almost 5,000 fans at the last game. Biggest non-school day crowd since January 28th of 2024 when DeAsia Fair was here. How great is it to see that, you guys are playing well and the community is recognizing that and starting to show up, and the crowd sizes are getting bigger. The support seems to be getting bigger. How important is that to you and the program?
Oh, it's amazing. It's like, that's so huge for our players to be able to have support from the stands. I mean, as an athlete, you know that you're going to have the opportunity to be in big games, and you know that your crowd can help push you over that mark, or it can kind of be deflating. I played at Wake Forest, and sometimes we did not have crowds. We had more Carolina fans in the building than we did Wake Forest, and then that can be deflating as student athletes. So for us, the Syracuse community, it really goes hand in hand with our success. Coach Jack, I believe she tweeted something yesterday about it, but we're just so excited. I think our crowd Sunday was incredible. I definitely think that helped build the momentum for us to hold on to that win. So I think that that's probably one of the most important pieces. We got to have our 6th player out there with us. So the more that the community jumps on, the better. I'm not a person, I don't believe in bandwagoners. We take the more the merrier. Come as you are, come when you want, but make sure you come. So I just think that is extremely important for us.
All right, Mykala, before we get you out of here, what do you like away from the court? What were some things you like to do?
Woo! I love to travel. I'm huge. Love to get on a plane and go anywhere. I love when we go on road trips. It's a very odd thing. I know a lot of people don't like to fly, but getting on planes are probably the most relaxing thing to me. It's where I probably watch the most TV. I will get in a movie or two on a flight, but I love to travel and experience new things.
Favorite TV show right now?
Favorite TV show right now? I'm so locked in.
Out there.
I'm so locked into Bridgerton right now. I cannot wait until the next episodes come out.
Fair enough.
All right, Mykala, we very much enjoyed this. Thanks so much for your time and continued success to you and the women's basketball program. Thanks for coming on today.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for having me.
All right, we appreciate it. Mykala Walker, Syracuse women's basketball general manager. And with that, we'll open up the phone lines the rest of the way. 315-437-7644. Back after this.